Okay, so we'll start recording.
All right.
3, 2, 1. Hi. Hi, this is G, and welcome to Beards with Beers, huh?
Hey, what's up? This is Todd, and like G said, this is Beards and Beers. This is going to be a little ongoing kind of video series that Guillermo and I will be doing, and just talk about any kind of topics that come to our minds. Dev related, obviously, cloud related, DevOps, anything basically is fair game in this series. And basically, it's going to be me and G just kind of shooting the shit and maybe drinking a beer or two and see what comes up. So Guillermo's located. Where are you located, Guillermo?
Well, I'm based in Spain, huh? In Madrid.
The beautiful city of Madrid. I have been there actually, but I am located in the beautiful mountains of North Georgia in the southern United States. So it's the Appalachian Blue Ridge Mountains that I am located in.
Amazing. You know, developers have many names. Developers evangelists, advocates, DevRel leads, tech marketeers. It's a fancy new term, huh? But what the heck is a developer advocate?
There are lots of different terms used, and it can get confusing. And I've called myself by different names, and honestly, they are used to describe different things a lot of times, and sometimes I perform those different actions. So, a developer advocate is a person who advocates on behalf of developers. So that means I do a lot of work with our internal product managers, with our engineering groups, with those sorts of people, and I get in on early access to a lot of our services and products, and I try them out. And I look at them from the perspective of a developer. So when a developer is going to be using this, what kind of thoughts are they going to have? What kind of things are they looking for? What kind of documentation are they looking for? What kind of examples are they looking for? These kind of things, right? So a lot of times engineers, they're dealing with a lot of product managers and requirements, and you kind of lose that perspective sometimes from an engineering standpoint as to what a developer really is going to be doing when they get their hands dirty with this product or this service. So I try to look at it from their perspective, and then I also go to like a lot of conferences and interact with a lot of developers on social media.
Storytellers, right?
Yeah, basically, exactly.
Yeah.
It's like I told you before. If you've seen the movie Office Space, I take the requirements from the developers to the engineers. So I'm kind of like that middleman, like what was it, Tom Spigowski in Office Space? Yeah.
Yeah, it's quite funny because you're mentioning that you pick the requirements from the community and you bring it back to engineering and product management, help us develop our new bunch of services there. But do you follow a framework? Is there a set of steps that you follow when you try to grab that information?
There's really not. I mean, it really varies from situation to situation, from community to community. You have to be really flexible. You have to listen to all the channels. And I think this is something that Oracle as a company has done poorly in the past, is listen to the community, right? And listen to all of the aspects of the community, where the feedback's coming from. Twitter, is it coming from GitHub, is it coming from email, is it coming from people talking? Oracle, I think one of the things we're trying to do better is listen to the community and be there for the community and contribute to the community, give back to the community with open source and some of these other things and some of this documentation.
Yeah, looks like it has been more a micro strategy, right? So those people that we are involved in different communities, you're one-to-one, listening, hearing, trying to fix, but there's no macro strategy behind. I think that's something we want to change, and that's something that it's on the way there. But getting back to your advocate role, because people might think, hey, these guys are always traveling, events, sessions, cool dinners, a lot of expenses there. That's a very cool job. But what people doesn't see is what's behind the scenes, all what it takes. I always say it's like the top of the iceberg, but there's a lot of things that people doesn't see. The tough work, preparing things, time traveling out of the family.
That's a really good point, G. It does take a lot of work. Especially if you're preparing a presentation, if you're preparing for a blog series. For example, right now, today, I'm working on a blog post about the brand new TypeScript SDK for OCI. Just
Wow.
came out, it was just released, and I want to get it some examples out to the community as soon as I possibly can, right? The problem is, because of some other things that I've been working on, I really haven't had time to really dig into it myself, and I haven't had time to, become an expert. So here's the thing: I have to become an expert today, right? I have to
Yeah.
be the expert right now on this SDK. I don't have time to be an expert in a month from now. I have to be the expert today. So it's a lot of work. You have to write those examples. You have to write debug the examples. Maybe your code doesn't work and you have to work with the engineers and figure out why your example isn't working. It's anytime you have hello world, it works perfectly, right? But anytime the real world comes in and you actually have some external dependencies, or you have systems that you're integrating with, and you're doing anything beyond hello world, things start breaking, and you have to figure out why they're breaking, what you're doing wrong, or what the framework's doing wrong, or the tool or service is doing wrong. So yeah, it is that tip of the iceberg. Like you said, there are
Uh-huh.
developer advocates who are constantly on the road. Obviously right
Yeah.
now with the pandemic situation is not happening as much or at all. But there are some developers, and you pay a toll. I mean, you're away from your family, you're away from your kids, your animals, like my giant farm that I have here in Georgia. You're away from all that, and it takes a toll. I know some people who are really good at working on planes. I am not good at working on planes. I'm
Or
good at just
planes
watching movies and
and airports, huh? Because I spend
right.
a lot of time stuck
Yeah,
in airports where you just sit behind the wall so nobody can see what you're doing.
yeah,
It's really tough to keep the track of learning while you're still traveling, plus your daily tasks, because don't forget that we are delivering a session in an event. We have the audience, we have the people. You need to prepare that presentation, but then you have a bunch of emails waiting for you in the hotel where they're asking, you need to do this, you need to look for that. Hey, what about this? And that's like you spend it. I always say that we are like a 7-Eleven, that we are not always doing business, but we never close. Huh?
right. Yeah, and think about this, G. I mean, I've had so many experiences with teammates or peers of mine where they're in India, maybe they're in Singapore, maybe they're in, Australia, and like you said, you have to keep up with. So you have your morning conference call with your team. Morning for them is like 11 p.m. for you. You know.
Yeah, I just had today. It's funny because I just had today a meeting for the developer community. We're getting a bunch of very cool people inside Oracle, but they're in different organizations and they're different time zones. So I managed to get like 12 guys there that were from Sydney, Australia, US, Europe, South Africa. I was like, oh my gosh, everybody's here. And it's really tough to find the right slot for everybody. I don't want to get people late in their day just to talk about this, but they're so patient about what they're doing. They're really happy. Just keep it there. Just try not going over midnight.
Yeah, as I said, Oracle has gotten a bad rap in the past for certain things, but there's one thing about Oracle that I know you'll agree with me on that people don't see outside of Oracle, and that's the fact that we have really awesome people who really give a shit about the software that they're building and the things and the documentation that they're writing. We have really good people who really care and who really want to make the communities and these developers
Yeah.
have an excellent experience with either the database. It doesn't matter, database org, the cloud org. It doesn't matter, the SaaS org, whoever you're talking about. There's awesome people who want to put out awesome software and who want to make people's life easier and better by the software that they're building.